You know, with all these remakes and remasters coming out later in the year and right now especially, I just thought I should go back and remind everyone that remakes and remasters, they're just bullshit! Remakes and remasters are bad because they ingrain one of the worst indulgences in the gaming community: nostalgia boners. Remasters, which is what I would consider the majority of remakes out there, are good for some people. When thinking about what it means for developers or independent studios that are contracted for work from publishers, needing either just work or money, publishers will throw the serfs a bone. It allows devs to gain more experience and look at the guts of amazing games and see why they are so beloved. Not to mention work experience, meaning when these studios work on their own original games, they have some new ideas or inspiration moving forward. And that's not all who it's good for. It's also good for publishers. Those poor guys need all the breaks they can get, huh? Huh? Wonder how many apartments they could buy homeless people with all that money. Yes, publishers get a huge boon from this. I couldn't find the exact budgets or costs that publishers pay to put out these remakes. Reading from former devs and industry professionals, I did come to a conclusion though. It ain't much! And if you're still not seeing why this is such a great business move for publishers, picture you're the CEO of Activision, and you're not an asshole. Tough to imagine, but it's the effort that counts here. One of your dev teams, who has a ton of talented people on it, has brought you this brand new IP that they promise will become a new franchise and hit for the company. But it'll cost a couple mil, and will take about 5 years to make an actual good product. Yeah. Then your other dev team says, we're just gonna patch the old one with like better graphics and stuff, and how much does that cost? Little to nothing. Cool, when can you release it? We already released it actually, it made 500 million. And now for actual remakes,
Master, you are forgetting.
Well look everybody, it's my faithful assistant, Pandy Richford. I know it's not clever, I don't want to get sued.
Master, you forget the sense of wonder and happiness we give players upon revisiting their favorite games.
Because that's bullshit! Look, I get it. We love our old video games and we just want to experience them one last time. We really like predictable things, and going back and making ourselves feel really good about nostalgic things is great, and I am certainly not immune to this. I give money to this crap all the time. But when we give money to laziness, we set a precedent, and publishers see this formula, and we eat it up repeatedly. And I already hear it TenWise, but when they release these remasters, it gives more time for bigger projects, allowing them to polish the game, as well as grant more money and bigger budgets on future projects. A lot of things wrong with that. Firstly, these publishers like Activision, EA, or Ubisoft can already afford big budgets. Even if the project goes long a bit, they can afford it. But the biggest problem with that argument is that it assumes publishers even care about the franchise or the quality of the product they're putting out. We live in a world where Anthem was given years of turmoil-ridden production, obviously wasn't ready, but the only thing on the EA CEO's mind is we need to make up that budget now. We have a deadline and we want that money, and they released a broken mess on us anyways. Please stop defending multi-billion-dollar corporations that don't care about you. Seriously, they already have enough people sucking their dick. Remakes in quotes refers to what I feel is the worst part of this remake marketing scheme. But when you tell your fans this is a reimagining or complete revamp, you could at least try to match some of that hype. But the main problem, as you will see, is publishers are not honest nor responsible enough to be given the privilege of making millions with no effort. Exhibit A, Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Of these unforgettable moments as they were. That's not true.
You lied to me.
Warcraft 3 Reforged was a hyped remake that was touted by once again our good old friends at Activision Blizzard as a beautiful new take on a beloved franchise. But more so, what I'm trying to hit on here is that when publishers find a low bar to make a lot of money, they will still try and go even lower to get an even bigger profit margin. Could make a whole video on that, but simplified down, why spend $5 and get back 20 when you can spend a quarter and do the same? This remake shows this behavior beautifully. Publishers have simply shown off their avarice that they are so accustomed to with Warcraft 3. They simply gave the devs no time to live up to the hype, these brand new cinematic cutscenes and changes that they had promised. Not because they didn't have the talent to make it. Oh no, they had plenty of people there that could easily do these CGI cutscenes again, but instead simply gave their devs a super anime waifu waist-thin deadline to get all of this done. At this point, I don't even need to argue if it's worth the money. I think everyone knows my thoughts on that argument. Simply put, like a kid with a full Halloween basket, publishers will simply not wait to get all of the candy. We all know it's coming, they know it's coming, but they can't wait to have it. And instead of owning up to their mistakes, they sent out a scapegoat and gave a simple corporate speak response. It goes thusly, paraphrasing. We did not want the in-game cutscenes to steer too far from the original game. We went deeper into the thought process, and the main takeaway was that we want to preserve the true spirit of Warcraft 3 and allow players to relive those moments. If you don't get it, it means they took out all the cinematic cutscenes and instead reverted them back to something more akin to the original, with upgraded models, but that's not what they promised. Now, this would be fine, but the problem was they never disclosed this choice to any of their customers. They simply let them spend their money, then find out on their own. My argument is not one of, hey, they're making money and I'm mad about it. It's the utter disdain they show their customers at every turn. And if my first argument didn't win you over, then this second argument should have done it. Sadly, too many publishers follow this Activision model, and some of them even make it their own. But now that brings us to the present, with remakes like Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evils 2 and 3, and the Nier Automata remake to come in the future later in the year. Then all of these games should shine as examples to make our money worth it for these remakes, and in some ways they do. Specifically looking at the Resident Evil remakes first, they are true to their word. They shine up a beloved franchise, provide fundamental and awesome gameplay changes. They provide a stellar product. But does that make this remake worth it? Does the idea of buying a remake get better because of this? No. But as long as that trust is there between customer and publisher, then this would be fine enough. Capcom has even remade their image in a lot of people's minds. Their shady business dealings back when the 360 era was around, locking off DLC that you had already purchased on the game disc. And they are granted a lot of goodwill from the gaming community. That is seldom given in the modern games industry today. But mainly, the best example I was able to find currently was the Final Fantasy VII Remake. A brilliant, could be argued is a spin-off game, adding so many new story elements and changing so much of the combat into something wholly new itself, is start from its remastered roots. That would be enough to win me over and say, this would be worth the $60. But the Final Fantasy VII Remake came with a warning. They delivered an excellent experience, bringing new life to the game some had forgotten, but they were never clear until the day it released, and they're still holding those cards close to their chests, that this was a part 1, and that the entire remake would be split, and you can write the excuse now that they want to make sure the experience of such a beloved franchise is kept whole. We are doing this for you, the fans. But I say, Square Enix simply reminded us that the games industry will never change until we do something about it, and sadly, we all know that that won't happen, because we actually love the video games they put out, and they don't, and will never stop. And of course, that won't stop us either from shelling out our cash. And that is even why the best of remakes suck. Except, there is a remake that doesn't suck. What you're looking at here is Black Mesa, a remake made by fans for fans with a pure intention to it. You see the best parts of the gaming community, fans giving other fans that nostalgia rush they wanted and never asking a dime in return. It's the purest form a remake or remaster could ever reach, and something publishers can only dream of emulating. Does Black Mesa make my arguments wrong? No. But this is a game that's worth its price. Just like any remake or remaster should be priced at. Nothing. Because if they were making homages, and they did care about their fans, if they did care about their creative process and the art that they make, they wouldn't ask a price. And if you made it to this point, call to action, like the like and sub the button. Bye!